legislation. And as many First Nations know, that we do have trust issues with all levels of government. And that's why we wanted to be included from the start within the provisions of the United Nations Declaration Act. I'm also the chair of the United Nations Declaration Act Chiefs Committee, and that is one thing that we're asking for is a whole of government and more resources put towards that and a good understanding how is the federal government going to fully implement the United Nations Declaration Act and the 100 and plus action plan measures.
Do you think, based on what you've heard today, that a significant number of First Nations communities in this country are going to feel comfortable getting on board with some of these projects?
No. I think maybe the way to put this is that this is a good start, but he's going to have to come out to the regions. He's going to have to talk to every province, every region, territory. I think it's really important that he starts in British Columbia. But the point being is that there needs to be more discussion happening in terms of how this is going to be implemented. But I think my stance isn't that different from yesterday, that ultimately this legislation does not live up to and is non-compliant to the United Nations Declaration Act.
If you were to boil it down right to the heart of it, about what the federal government needs to do that you worry they are not going to, how would you explain that to broad swaths of this country?
I mean, what we're talking about here is legislation that is speeding up the process. What we need, what it comes down to, is consent. It's not merely consultation. I think it's free, prior, and informed consent. Out of everything today and in the future, do First Nations have an ability to make decisions for themselves? Do First Nations have an ability to say yes or no? And I think that's what this all comes down to.
If he doesn't go out to the regions, if we don't hear more of the things you're looking for, then where does this conversation go?
It's what we're seeing in Ontario with 9 First Nations filing litigation, and also I think we saw a small demonstration with the youth out here, that perhaps there'd be more public demonstration in regards to C5 and maybe this is project specific and objections to specific projects.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thanks.